Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about one of my favorite scenes from the original Pretty Little Liars show that I feel is probably my most favorite cinematic scene, like in the entirety of the series, because of the way it's filmed, the way it's acted, the way it's directed, the lighting, just everything. And how like it literally doesn't hold a candle, no puns intended, to that of the rebooted series that Roberto made. Because honest to God, this one scene, like this one scene is a million times better than the entirety of like the Pretty Little Liars reboot Original Sins. And, one of the reasons why this is such a good scene is because, one, you actually have somebody who is talented, and that's the director. Ellen D. King, she has directed TV shows since the 90s, and she still continues to direct TV shows until like today. She's directed multiple television shows, mainly dramas, and has like directed like dozens upon dozens upon dozens of like episodes. So she has a lot of experience, and she's even won 2 awards. And it was written by Oliver Goldstick, and he's written a number of episodes as well, and even executive produced a number of television shows like Pretty Little Liars, Ravenswood, and Caroline in the City. And so one of my favorite scenes is actually the lantern scene between Jenna and Aria. It's one of the most captivating scenes, and it's just mesmerizing and everything. From the lighting to, like I said, the acting to the direction and stuff. This is a really, really good scene. And, I actually forgot about this scene like completely, because it's been like a million years since I've rewatched like Pretty Little Liars. But because of like the dismal reboot, I just decided to go back and rewatch this show. And so far the reboot has not been confirmed for a 3rd season yet, and it has not been confirmed to be canceled yet. So that's just that. And I find it like baffling when people that are hardcore Pretty Little Liar fans of the original, defend this show and say it's so great and it's so amazing when it's really not. I mean, I get it. Some people like things that are different. Like there are some, but here's the thing. There are some TV shows and some movies that I like that are not everybody's cup of tea. And because they have flaws in it, and sometimes it could be mediocre and, a little bit cringy. But guess what? I actually say it is. I don't say it's the most amazing thing in the world. I just say like I like it, and it has some redeemable clause and stuff, like in the show. But I literally call it out for what it is. It's a mediocre, crappy, movie or TV show, but I still like it. Other people just talking about how like amazing some crappy stuff is, or how like amazing like the rebooted Pretty Little Liars is. And it's just like, if you like it, at least call it out for like its crappiness and stuff. Be fair and everything. Be biased and everything. Don't be so biased. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to call out something that's not great. I do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? And, one of the reasons why this scene is so good is because of the acting. You have, Jenna played by Tammin Srsook, and Tammin is a very good actress. Although this is literally the only show I've ever seen her in, and that's all I need. You know what I'm saying? Because like she is very gifted as playing like Jenna. Because Jenna is a blonde girl. Don't worry, I'm going to get into the bad part about Jenna. Like, don't think I'm defending Jenna. Like, no, I ain't like that. Jenna did some terrible stuff. And I will get into that a little bit later. And so, like, When it comes to playing her, you know, Jenna is blind. She wears these giant black sunglasses and everything. And the actress literally said when she was in those sunglasses and playing Jenna, she just kept her eyes closed. The better feel to be blind, which she said wasn't always smart because she kept bumping up into stuff and things. But, you know, that's like, you know, because, you know, most blind people don't really bump into things because they had that stick, but she kept bumping into stuff. And when you watch her scenes, especially in this episode, she's very lifelike when she's blind. The way she walks very slow, the way she touches things, and the way she knocked over like the pottery thing and turned around and looked scared, thinking people are gonna judge her and stuff, you know. And she deserves more credit than most people give her, and it is a shame she never became like a main character on the show. But, you know, the actress says she literally just wanted to be a guest star and everything because you get paid more. And so, like, but it is a shame that, you know, she couldn't play one of the Pretty Little Liar girl, because she totally could have, you know what I'm saying? And it's also beautifully acted by the actress who plays Arya and everything, Lucy Hale. And, you know, I know a lot of people have, like, you know, commented and said that, like, not everybody's the greatest actor on the original Pretty Little Liar. You know, that's true. Like, not everybody is, like, amazingly great, but they're still good for what they're giving. And plus, a lot of them were still new to the field. And it's kind of like how it is with the reboot. Like, in the reboot, there is a lot of cringy, bad acting. And that is because it's by a lot of people who are still new to the craft and everything, you know? So I never really hold the reboot for that. Like, I never, like, clown it for, like, you know, the acting, because, like, when you're new at something, you're not going to be that amazing and stuff. And plus, you know, you got to admit that the original one didn't have that great of acting either. But the problem is like, while this scene is beautiful, while this scene is very emotional, like, why did it have to be Jenna? You know what I'm saying? Because Jenna is not a great person. Now, the problem with Jenna is that Jenna did a very terrible thing before she went blind. I'll get into that a little bit later. And since being blind, you know, you feel sorry for her because, you know, she once could see and now she can't. And this scene echoes that. Like, she talks about when she used to be able to see and now she can and stuff like that. And the problem is like, you know, Jenna has divided the fan base. You got the majority of people who say she's misunderstood, she's underrated. Then you have a small vocal group like, did you remember what she did to Toby and everything? Like, the only thing I really hate about Jenna is the thing she did to Toby. Like, you know, wanting revenge on Allie and the Pretty Little Liars. I understand that, like, Allie blinded her, you know what I'm saying, out of, like, you know, it's never really truly been explained. Did Allie blind her by mistake, or did she do it out of revenge? Because everybody always assumed because of the Jenna thing, it was by mistake, because she just wanted to throw, like, you know, a firecracker in the room with Toby and scare him, but Toby wasn't there, and it was actually Jenna. But then when you get about to like the 15th episode of the second season, because this episode I'm talking about is the third episode of the second season, then it makes you think, okay, Allie probably just wanted revenge because Jenna was the new hot girl in town and she wanted her to be part of her clique. Because she didn't want competition. And that's what queen bees do. If they see somebody who's equally hot, they want you in their clique. But Jenna rejected her. And then Allie wanted revenge. So I understand why Jenna is pissed at, like, the liars and, like, you know, Allie. Allie blinded her and the liars just stood there and didn't do nothing and went along with it. Now, in the books, it's a little bit differently. In the books, the liars were actually pretty rude and mean to Jenna along with that of Allie, would make fun of her and her pale skin. It's a comparison to Snow White and everything. And, you know, also the bad thing that Jenna did to Toby is reversed in the books. And that is the problem right there. Because it's like Jenna at times, you know, she's written to be a villain. And, you know, I gotta give it up. The side recurring characters in the original is a million times more intimidating than the actual two slashers in the reboot. The slashers in the reboot are laughable and everything. Whereas in the original series, all somebody had to do was look at you with a stern look and be creepy and talk to you in a very angry way. And they scared the piss out of me when I used to watch this show. And what helped even more was the reaction of the Pretty Little Liars and how scared they were of these people, thinking they might be A or something like that. And that also has to do with the better acting and stuff. And the better writing, because it's like, I remember in season 2 when they recasted Jason, the new Jason scared me. Sometimes his acting was off, but it's like, you know, when he first showed up and started talking to Spencer, because Spencer's all like, Ian said he killed Allie, and it was, and blah, 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 blah. And he's all like, did he actually say that? What did he say, Spencer? And he just kept coming at Spencer with this mean look. I'm like, dude, is he gonna like strangle her or something? That's a million times more horrifying than Archie or that of like Bloody Rose and everything. And it's crazy how like just regular characters who are side characters like Noel and Jenna and like Jason and Melissa was so intimidating by their looks. And a person with the actual slasher mask, horror mask, is just like act like a little puppy. Because they acted so ridiculous and everything. And you know, Jenna, like I said before, the problem is she was written. I know I'm going on and on, but I just wanted to like, you know, get through like this whole Jenna thing before I get why this scene is like so like cool. Because it's like Jenna was written to be sympathetic at times, villainous at times, and sympathetic at times. That's nothing new with villains, but the problem is Jenna did a really, really bad thing. What did she do? Well, she sexually assaulted her stepbrother. She forced him to make love to her multiple times. See, when their parents got married and stuff, Jenna fell in love with Toby and tried to make out with him in the past. He rejected her. And she told him, if you don't do this, then I'm gonna tell everybody you forced yourself on me. So, being scared, he went along with it and stuff. And he literally says whatever Jenna wants, she gets, because she tricks and she manipulates people. So she's been assaulting her stepbrother, and they're around the same age for like years and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Until he finally had enough courage to get away from her, because he went to juvie for the whole Jenna blinding incident, even though he did not do it. But Allie literally blackmailed him and told him, you do that and take the fall for this, or I'll tell everybody what you've been doing to Jenna. Similar to that of the book. But in the book, it's completely reversed. In the book, it's actually Toby who assaults Jenna and everything. And there's no tricking. He just literally forces himself on her. Like, he's literally a bad dude in the book. But in the show, they wanted to reverse it and show that he's good and Jenna is the bad person. One thing I have to commend them for is to show that a woman can sexually assault a man. This is something rarely seen in television, but it happens more than you think, especially with that of teachers and stuff. And also, men are ashamed if they come forward with it, because the first thing somebody say, oh, you didn't enjoy that? What are you, gay or something like that? So men normally keep their mouths shut whenever a woman like assaults them and stuff. Because back in like the olden days, if you get accused to be gay, that was one of the worst things possible and stuff. And so like, they, like I said before, they flipped it in the book and in the show, so like, you know, so it's now Jenna doing it. And you can't come from behind that. Like, it's like Jenna is a terrible person for what she did, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a Lena Dunham thing when she tricked her sister into doing that like nasty thing growing up. And I still don't understand how Lena Dunham has not been canceled yet. And go read up on that, because it's completely gross and everything. No, she didn't touch her sister. She just let her sister watch at a very young age, and it is disgusting. And the fandom, like I said, is divided by this. And the fandom is very two-faced, because Chip in the reboot is like, you know, he assaulted 2 girls. he watched them get drunk and then he forced himself on them and stuff. And people hate Chip, and for very good reason. He did a terrible thing. But when it comes to Jenna, who did a similar thing, people's all like, no, she's misunderstood. Like, you just don't understand. She's blind now. You have to forgive her and all the pain she went through. And it's like, no, because before she went blind, she did a terrible thing. Then after she became blind, she went on a revenge streak and everything. And it's like, I don't understand people when they are two-faced like that. When they condemn the man for doing something terrible and they don't condemn the woman. Or in the reverse of Pretty Little Liars and Riverdale, where it took literally 7+ years, over 10 years for people to hate Ezra Fitz for an adult teacher dating his student. But when it came to Riverdale and Mrs. what was her name, Grundy or something like that, the teacher lady in the first season, people automatically hated her and the actress for playing that character. And I'm all like, why did it take so long for people to hate Ezra? Like, you know, it's just like it clicked. Oh, wait, he did a terrible thing. And I think it's like, you know, a one-sided view, because it's kind of like this. Because Pretty Little Liars is, you know, the primary focus is female audience, they like Ezra Fitz because he is eye candy. And so they didn't want to think what he was doing was terrible, even though they did. Then you get that lady from Riverdale, and they're all like, well, we don't like her because most likely they're probably straight if they're watching this show, the majority of people. So they're like, oh, well, screw her and everything. And so when it comes to Toby and Jenna, and the whole Chip thing, is just kind of like, you know, oh, you know, they sympathize for some reason with Jenna because she's blind, but oh, Chip's the evil man, so let's like condemn him and everything. And it's like, if you're gonna condemn one, you gotta condemn the other as well. And so like, also Jenna, like, you know, had like over, like, you know, because the original series, each season had 20 episodes, whereas the reboot only has 10 or 8. So they can flesh more out in the original one instead of just throwing stuff in and pasting it together like Roberto does in his rebooted shows and stuff. But anyway, let's get into why this scene is so cool. So to reiterate, no, I am not justifying what Jenna did, and I'm not trying to feel sorry for her, but in the context of her being blind, you do feel bad for her a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because she once could see and now she can't. And this scene is very heartbreaking. And this is the problem, because it's kind of like, I wish they would have left out that Jenna Toby thing and just had somebody else mess with Toby, because it's kind of like because the way they keep writing Jenna, they want to redeem her so badly. But it's hard to come back for what she did from Toby. So scenes like this is very conflicting, because you do feel sorry for her because she's blind, but at that same time, you remember what she did. Now, to be fair, I don't remember when it was 100% revealed what she did to Toby, because we're only in the second season and we know that they had a relationship, but I don't think it was ever revealed how exactly it started. It might have, it might not. So this is why, like, 7 seasons in, you just think of Jenna as trash for what she did to Toby, and it's hard to forgive her. But you gotta remember that by this time, I think fans might not have known to the full extent of what she did and stuff. So the scene deals at a college like campus in like the art department in a pottery classroom, and both Jenna and Aria are taking a pottery class. Aria took it so she can be close to her adult teacher man and everything, and Jenna just took it to just take it and everything, you know. But Jenna doesn't know that Aria is, like, you know, in the class with her, and Aria has been too scared to let her know because of, one, the whole Jenna thing, because Jenna could literally go to the cops and tell about the whole Jenna thing, and 2, Hannah literally slapped the sunglasses clean off her face in season 1 when she found out that, like, Jenna hired Caleb to spy on them, and both, like, you know, Hannah and Caleb fell in love with each other. So she's a little terrified, and she's also like, in the back of her mind, she's like, well, maybe she could be A and everything. And us, the viewers, know Jenna is a bad person because she's talking to Garrett, the cop, who has befriended the liars, and he's using them and stuff. And she still wants revenge. So there's already a tense, like, atmosphere, right? And so Arya literally pretends to be like a completely different person. So when the whole class like leaves, it's only Jenna and Arya there. And Jenna asks her to like, can you put like my lantern that I made in pottery class, on the turntable in the far part of the back room. And the far part of the back room doesn't have the doors. Like the exits are like not there and stuff, I don't believe. Which they should be anyway. And then she wants like, because she's acting all nice and like, can you also like, clean it up for me? Because, I can't see and stuff like that. Because Jenna had literally knocked over like some pottery stuff and Arya had to clean it up. And so Arya's not even talking to her, like doing this whole exchange and everything. Which if I was a blind person and I'm talking to you and you're doing things for me and you're not saying anything, I'm gonna think that's rude. Because you're like, oh, you too afraid to talk to the blind person? And the reason why that Jenna made this lantern and everything is because it has some significance to her back to when she could see. So she has Arya like dim the lights and like, light the candle for her. And it is a beautiful cinematic like scene. Like this, in my opinion, is cinema. You have the creepy, eerie music playing in the background. You have the dim lights. You have the light flickering from like, the candle wick and like the lantern. And there are like all these little holes in the lantern. So when it's lit, there are like all these little holes where it's like shining from. And you have Jenna just leaning up against like the wall, in this like desperate like look kind of like on her face, hoping for something. But we don't know what that something is, She's almost like in a trance. And she tells her that like, she tells Arya that like, I can't see no more because I'm completely blind, but like I can see shadows and everything. So that like really creeps Arya out because she's like, crap, dude, what if she recognized my shadow and stuff? Because you always wonder, what exactly do blind people see? Can they see absolutely nothing? Is it like just like a fuzziness of a person? Is it shadows? Like what is it, I remember one time I helped this blind man cross the street and he literally tells me, even though he's blind, he can still see like, fragmented shadows and stuff like that. And so, like, she tells her the story of, like, when she used to go out to, I think, like, the lake or something like that. And one of her best moments in life before she went blind is going to the bottom of the lake and just turning around slowly and looking up at the sun. She loved looking at the sun, reflecting off the water because it's like hundreds of broken pieces of light and she could feel the warmthness on her face. And so the whole thing about this is that she's hoping she can relive that moment by seeing like the shadows of the light and like, the lantern and stuff. So she literally puts her face down into it. And then she slowly raises her face up and all you see is like a close-up of her face, those big bug-eye like sunglasses, and then the flame from the candle is reflecting off her shades looking like pupils. And she has a like kind of like a little bit of a stern, angry tone in her voice, asking Arya, what do you see and everything? Almost like she knows it's Arya or she could sense that it's Arya because, she's heard Arya's voice before in class and, blind people can smell really good. And, Arya probably wears like perfume. So she probably thinks it might be her, but not 100% sure, you know what I'm saying? But Arya just doesn't want to say nothing. And so then Jenna goes into like a monologue and she's literally sobbing. And she's crying because she can't even see the shadows of like the light reflection. And it really frustrates her and everything, because that's the one thing she just wanted to see so badly and everything. And, you know, and you do feel bad and everything for her, because it's kind of like, because, you know, she can't see no more, and the reason why she can't see is because of the acts of like one terrible person and, like, you know, her friends that just stood by and did nothing. And it has to really suck to be able to be born to see, and, you know, going throughout your entire life scene, and then all of a sudden, like, what is it, like last year, like, bam, like, you can't see no more, you know what I'm saying? And she's a teenager and everything. And so, like, because of how it's written and the way it's acted, you do feel sorry for her and stuff. And then all of a sudden, Arya gives in and kind of cracks and just starts like crying, because she feels terrible for Jenna and everything, because she knows she's responsible for the why Jenna is the way she is. And then she finally starts talking to like Jenna and telling her what she sees in like the light, trying to help give some, like, you know, some happiness to Jenna. Be like, hey, if I can explain the light reflections that I see and how it makes me feel, maybe that can make you feel a little bit better. Well, Jenna does recognize her voice and everything, and she ain't too happy. At first, it sounds like Jenna is a little terrified, because remember, Hannah slapped the taste out her mouth and the sunglasses clean off her face. And so, like, she just gets angry, and she's just like demanding that Arya like reveal herself and everything. And so Arya finally does. Then we get a little bit of cringy writing where it's like, you know, where it's like, you know, Jenna's all like, blow out the candle, and she just does it in a very intimidating way, like a demanding way, like, blow out the candle. And so Arya gets like terrified and literally blows out the candle, knowing she ain't gonna be able to see to get out the room and everything. And it's like, you know, it's weird, because, you know, Arya is literally scared of this blind girl and everything. And the reason why it's a little cringy is because it's just kind of like, why does she really want her to blow out the candle for? Why don't she just want her to like leave and get out the room or something like that? But then you gotta stop and think, okay, if Arya is dumb enough to blow out the candle and the lights are dim, she's gonna have a hard time to see, and now she's gonna be in like darkness, same way Jenna is. Like, you know, a nice philosophical metaphor-y type way. But then one will hope that Arya will be smart enough to turn the light on and get the heck on out of there. We don't know, because the scene literally cuts to like a completely different scene. And like I said before, this whole scene is just cinema. Like, it's pure cinema, from like the eerie, disturbed music to like the intimidation of like Jenna, to the, like, you know, empathy of like Arya, and then the terrifyingness of like Arya and everything. It's beautifully written, it's beautifully acted and directed and stuff, you know. And this one scene just feels like something that came out of a movie, but it's a TV show of all things, you know. And like I said before, it's hard not to feel sorry for Jenna despite what she did. And that's what I hate, when they try to redeem terrible characters and everything. And, but, you know, like, but then at the back of your mind, you're like, well, Jenna's a terrible person, so maybe she got her comeuppings and everything, you know. And she's not misunderstood whatsoever. She was a horny girl who saw a boy and forced herself on him. Like, that's what it is. Like, she is, you can't redeem that, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he said no, then he means no, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I wish they would have did something different with that and had somebody else mess around with Toby and something like that, or messed around with Jenna, because it's kind of like, you do want to feel sorry for Jenna. Like, if she didn't have that one huge gaping flaw in her personal story, then it's like everything else she did in the show would have been somewhat justified, because she just wanted revenge on people who blinded her and stuff. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.